Fantasy Blitz, I am Nick, and believe it or not, Adam is here too. He's sick today, but I'm going to cut back and forth between Adam because he's on a call. Adam, how are you feeling?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing
Okay.
all right. You know, I had to pull through for the channel, so I'm always going to be here. Can't get rid of me.
You're an absolute professional. We appreciate you, Adam. Look, these are our waiver wire grabs. These are your targets that you want to get before everything goes completely off the rails more than it already has. So we're going to get into this really quick. Boom, boom. Here we go. So Adam, go ahead and take us through, and then when I'm going to have a little pithy comment, and I do have my own little secret grab that you can disagree with publicly on this channel, but go ahead and Adam, take it away.
Okay, so I mean, I think starting out, you're looking at some of the obvious ones that we sort of touched on last week, beginning with Kyren Williams. I know we talked about that being the guy that you should be picking up. I mean, I think he's the number 2 or maybe number 3 overall running back right now in PPR, which is, I mean, actually insane. So if he's somehow still available, you have to go get him. You have to. He's just going to be, I think he's going to continue that production. I don't really know what the deal is with all their running back stuff. You know, he's going to be a top option, and you should be targeting him if he's still somehow available. And the same thing goes for Tutu Atwell. I mean, obviously not to the same extent of production, but he still is a guy that you should have been looking at last week, and you still should be looking at him this week if he's still available. He's getting work. He's not getting Puka Nacua work, but he's getting work, which is something that a lot of people need right now. There's been a lot of injuries recently, and something consistent like Tutu Atwell, or at least semi-consistent, is really, really nice. Yeah, see what his stats were the last 2 weeks. Yeah, 13 catches for 196 yards in 2 games.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nothing to scoff at. It's nothing crazy. But like I was saying, if you need a guy that's just consistent, maybe you can flex him. That's really not a bad option. And then obviously, I'm going to jump around a little bit on the waiver target graph that we have here.
Mm-hmm.
The talk of the town right now is Jerome Ford. Unfortunately,
Yeah, you gotta.
Nick Chubb. Yeah, Nick Chubb got hurt.
Disgusting.
That is really heartbreaking. He's one of my favorite players of all time. But on the bright side, for fantasy, Jerome Ford is still really, really good. So if you're in a position where you need a running back, or even if you don't need a running back, this guy is really, really talented. He's on a team that runs more than 90% of the other teams in the NFL. And if you have to, I mean, I could see people dumping 50, 60, in some leagues, 70% of their fab on this dude. He's going to be there for the rest of the year. I don't see them adding a free agent target anytime. A really tough upcoming schedule, so I think if he really, really struggles these next 3 weeks, then maybe they look for somebody. But I think right now you could see them signing either a guy off their practice squad or just a very sort of under the radar free agent that is going to act as a backup to him. So I think you've got a really solid guy here if you can land him. I know I'm targeting him in a lot of different places, even though I don't necessarily need a running back. He's just going to be so productive. You have to take a shot on him. Nick Chubb. That is actually heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I was actually able to see the footage of the Chubb injury, and I knew it was going to be. I mean, I would even say it's possibly career-ending, just the extent of the damage.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
So it's just really tough. But thankfully, Jerome Ford showed out, and the Browns were able to continue their show for us on the ground in a really tough game. So, yeah, I mean, as far as Tutu Atwell and Jerome Ford, these guys are mortal locks as far as what you can pick up on the waiver wire. If you were unlucky enough to have Nick Chubb and or Saquon Barkley, which as far as I know, I don't think the Barkley injury is as bad as we thought, right, Adam?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I still think he's out 2 to 3 weeks, but they seem really optimistic in their interviews and stuff. So I don't think that he's going to be out for a super long time. And honestly, I am not a huge fan of any of the backups that they have there. I think the current next guy up is Matt Breida, and he's just never been that guy.
No.
any of them. That's why I haven't included them on this waiver target list. Just because I think right now the Giants are in a really tough spot. They need to figure out their offense bad. I know they had a really nice comeback against Arizona, but that's Arizona. Like,
Yeah.
we shouldn't be having to have a comeback against them.
No.
But anyways, outside of that, the next guy for me is Tank Dell. If you've been watching the Texans, you have probably seen Nico Collins going crazy, and he was on our
Yeah.
pickups. I
Amazing.
believe he was on our pickups last week. He's been incredible. I am been very lucky to have him in a couple different spots. He's excellent. He looks like prime Brandon Cooks did on the
Yeah.
Texans. Which is really fun, and I like having that. But Tank Dell is the next guy. He's still getting really good volume. I mean, he's getting a lot of targets. They're quality targets. He's putting up some decent work, and he's kind of in the same realm as Tutu Atwell right now, where it's like, listen, you got a consistent wide receiver. He can, potentially ride your bench and sub in if you need him somewhere, maybe a flex position. Tank Dell's not gonna put up he's not gonna put up Nico Collins numbers,
No.
but he's still gonna be pretty consistent. I don't hate that as a bench warmer. And then another guy that I kind of like stashing. These next two are actually both really in the same boat. Sort of boom or bust players. Jaden Reed looked really good last week for Green Bay. I was actually lucky enough to see him live. Actually, both of us were. We were both
Interesting.
there.
Yeah.
We saw
yeah.
him. Yeah, we saw him live against Atlanta on Sunday, and he had 2 touchdowns. I mean, he didn't have a ton, but he was getting looks, and they were using him in some really creative ways. And he was decently high draft capital for the Packers, and I could see them really working with him moving forward as sort of like a gadget guy, almost kind of like an Elijah Moore for Cleveland is right now. A couple looks out of the backfield, a couple of screen stuff going on. I just kind of like him as a potential breakout option. I'm not sure if it'll happen because the Packers like to spread the ball around a lot, but still a fun option to have on your bench. And that also almost the exact same position for Marvin Mims. This dude is like the deep threat god right now. The deep threat, but but he is he's going to be putting up a lot of yards. His air yards on his targets are insane.
Scary target
and
ratio, though. Very scary.
Yes, it is, and that's something that I sort of talked about at the very beginning of the year. Was picking him up with one of your last picks as like a guy that's like, oh, he could easily have 3 catches for 150 yards and a touchdown or something. Like he's one of those kind of guys where if you're in like a best ball league or you're in a really 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 deep league and you just need players, he could definitely win you a week. For sure. He could also lose you a week, but he could win you one.
Yeah.
And then outside of wide receivers, the next 2 guys, one of them is Jaylen Warren. I think in most leagues he's going to be taken. He should be taken, but there are some when he's not taken. He looks better than Najee Harris does. I don't care. He looks better. He's getting targets. They're putting him in when they need him in third downs. I think they're still going to work Najee where they can just because way, and I can't see them ignoring that for too much longer. And I think the game last night really shows that, hey, they're willing to work him into their schemes, and he's putting up stuff with it. But I think he's going to be gone in most leagues, but if he's not, you have to target him. Same thing with Gus Edwards. I know with the J.K. Dobbins injury, people are kind of confused on, are they going to grab somebody in free agency? Is it going to be Justice Hill? Is it going to be Gus Edwards? It's not looking like they're going to grab anybody. And as like we talked about last week, Justice Hill is bad. He's just never been super productive. He wasn't that great in college either. And Gus Edwards hasn't been that great either, but he's still going to be the next guy up. He's a little older now, which is fine, but I think that he gets enough work to be a viable flex guy, maybe a RB3 type option.
Definitely in non-PPR leagues because he's not a catching back.
Right.
I mean, Gus's upside is a lot higher if you're in standard scoring, but man, PPR, that is a tough road. It's hellacious out there for PPR running backs right now.
It really is, and that's going back to Jaylen Warren for a second. That's why I think that he is a guy that could really really win some leagues if they start to lean on him fully, because he is a PPR running back. He was getting some good work. Gus Edwards, but no, he's definitely going to be your standard format guy. But I don't hate having him. I think he should be on everybody's bench.
Yeah. Yeah, it's another one of those like matchup dependent things. If you see someone who is going to be like, if it's an outdoor game and it's rainy, the Ravens are up there, they're playing someone with a crappy defense, run defense. I mean, Gus is going to shine a lot more. If they're going to be airing it out in a stadium game, if it's something against like the Cowboys or something like that, like don't do it. I don't remember the Ravens schedule off the top of my head right now, but this is where we're playing chess, folks. This is not tic-tac-toe. We're playing chess. So this is these are where seasons are made or lost in these, week 3 to 6 waiver pickups, because the major injuries are done generally, unless we may eventually get into QB injuries. We still haven't had a QB go down yet. That's going to happen.
Burrow is
yeah,
teasing us with it. I mean, I don't think he's technically gone down yet, but he is definitely not confident.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I do have one grab here. I think it's worthwhile discussion is Robert Woods. And I say that because just volume of targets, okay?
Yeah.
9 targets, 10 targets. He's had, a pretty good just showing this year so far in Houston. Yeah. I think in my league or in our league, he's put up, roughly an average of 10 points per game. So, I mean, you can't hate that. And he's still pretty widely available. Around the league. So
CJ Stroud is really impressing me this year. I thought he was going to have a little bit more of the rookie quarterback, sort of not really wanting to throw the ball a lot. They're going to run it a lot, which is why I unfortunately have Dameon Pierce in a lot of different leagues. But he's really slinging it, man. He's not afraid to either, which is why every single receiver, the top 3 guys at least on that team are getting work, and they're going to be viable if you need them. I mean, I think it's very Collins, then Tank Dell, and then Robert Woods. But Robert Woods is still like, he's getting his short range targets. I don't think they're giving him any red zone looks, but that's okay. I mean,
yeah,
he's a little older now, so he's going to be getting those things. He's sort of leaning into the like 70 yards on. I think he's got like 6 catches back-to-back weeks, and I think that's what he does every single week from here on out.
Yeah,
which is nothing to scoff at.
No, it's good work. He's putting in the time, and right now, again, we're in that mode to where we have to maintain the team. Your studs are falling off. I mean, the studs are going down, folks. I do think Saquon is going to bounce back a little bit earlier than everyone is expecting. I don't think Burrow is going to be out for nearly as long as we think. But I think there is that final shoe to drop on a QB being out for the season. It's probably not going to be the young guy. It's going to be one of the older guys. They may end up benching Russell Wilson. Good God. What the hell is wrong with that game?
Yeah, I know. I was actually DM'd on Instagram on a couple of different occasions asking, like, hey, should I be starting Russell Wilson? And I'm like, guys, no, stop, don't. I mean, if you, one of the best things to do if you're considering picking somebody up and you're on the fence is go watch the highlights from the recent game.
Yep.
And just see if they pass the eye test for you. That's one of my best pieces of advice if you're considering somebody is, do they pass your eye test on the most recent game? I mean, Russell Wilson was bad. Like, he was bad.
Yeah.
And the only reason he seems to put up a decent stat line was because of one play. And it was that stupid 70-yard or whatever Hail Mary that just happened to get tipped and caught as a touchdown.
Yeah, did you happen to see the ESPN thing with Peyton Manning reacting to Russell in the Denver game? Did you see that?
No.
It was so bad. Basically, like, Peyton didn't understand why Russell was doing half of what he was doing, and at the end of the game, he burnt 40 seconds not calling a timeout, and they had plenty of time, and Peyton's just like, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on? So it's like, I think Sean Payton is the right coach, but I don't think Russell is going to be the QB for much longer in Denver.
Yeah, I can't see him unless he takes some really great leaps this year. I mean, he's got the team around him to be successful. They have a pretty good defense this year.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton, Now they've got Marvin Mims too, so they've got a deep threat. Like they have all of these weapons, and man, none of them are viable right now.
No, they're not. And as far as being viable, this show, have we said all we need to say? Is there anything else to talk about?
We covered it for the most part. I think you see a lot of these guys carry over week to week because people are still sleeping on them. But that's what we're here for. We're here to bring up the sleepers and the guys that not everybody's thinking about. So just keep an eye out for them.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Absolutely. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate it. Hope you feel better, man. And we will see you back here on Thursday. But comment below on what you want us to cover. We're entertaining the idea of doing like a little bit of a hangover show on Monday with our researcher, young Eli. So comment below on, first of all, what app you're using, just so we know, so we can like kind of do a better job of breaking down the data that you're looking at every day. What app you use to do fantasy football. If you are interested in a Monday morning hangover show, we're doing the Tuesday videos on the waiver wire targets, and then our Thursday videos every Thursday night to help you set your lineup and win. We appreciate you. Remember, here at Fantasy Blitz, it's all about the blitz and none of that BS. Appreciate y'all. Take it easy.